And joining us now to discuss the FBI's work in the Indo-Pacific is Fleming, CEO of BlackOps Partners Corporation and China analyst and national security advisor. Casey, thank you for joining us today. So the FBI has opened a new office in New Zealand to counter growing security threats, and that's including foreign interference and Chinese Communist Party espionage. How important is this location for the FBI and why?
Well, it's very important. The Chinese Communist Party has been at this for many, many years, as far as infiltration, subversion, espionage, those type of things. So not just New Zealand, but also Australia and the South Pacific. As we all know, the CCP has really staked claim to the South China Sea. And then through that expansion, they plan on going further throughout the rest of the South Pacific and the Pacific. So it's very important to lock in those partnerships. It's a little late, but it's better late than never.
This partnership, how does it benefit the countries who are partnering together? How significant is a joint cooperation from both New Zealand and Australia in countering the CCP?
Well, it takes intelligence sharing up another level, where it allows each one of the countries to work together on a much higher level of intelligence sharing, and also the penetration of infiltration and subversion by the CCP in New Zealand, Australia, other South Pacific countries, as well as the US. It's very significant, and it's a very, very important problem.
So what are the CCP's main goals exactly in the Indo-Pacific region?
Main goals are to subvert current governments, current democratic governments, free nation governments, to subvert them and replace values through psychological warfare, cognitive warfare, drug warfare, those things to make way for communism. That's exactly what's going on. And it's something that must be addressed even more so. We've seen the alignment of China, Russia, Iran, Pakistan, North Korea, and for now our allies to lock in that tighter bond against this aggressive axis, which wants to completely overthrow the world order and replace it with communism.
So the CCP has clear targets or clear goals for the U.S., right? What are its specific region-specific goals for the Indo-Pacific, or does it just want to, dominate the world?
Well, the answer is they want to dominate the world, one country at a time, one free country at a time, and one human being at a time. So they plan on completely dominating the world. The easier piece of it is the smaller countries like Australia, New Zealand, that are closer to home. It's more important for them to start regionally, but their roots into the rest of the world, Europe, the US, Canada, and Mexico are even more significant. So it's something that we as a world need to wake up to much more than we have in the past.
And Casey, you and other China experts have laid out for years how the CCP is engaged in unrestricted warfare, right, against the U.S., other countries. Are things different under the Trump administration now?
Yeah, we're seeing much more focus on unrestricted warfare, where China is being held much more accountable than they were in past administrations. So they're taking it much more seriously. The previous FBI director for the past 5 years was beating the drum that China is the most significant threat to the United States, but he gave no detail. And over the past 2 years, FBI and MI5, which is the UK's FBI, were saying the same things, but they would never say, they would never go into the extra detail because they don't want to make people fearful. But the problem is, it's a reality we all need to face. So unrestricted warfare basically means to take over your enemy, to weaken them from the inside so they destroy themselves. And so you never have to fire a shot. You never have to really go to a ground war. So unrestricted warfare means no rules. And what that means is the citizens are on the front lines with drug warfare like fentanyl and numerous other drugs, including vape drugs and dopamine, which is a drug. So that's drug warfare. There's cognitive warfare right behind it, which is social media and psychological warfare and so on. And we're all insulated. We don't think like that as a free people, but we must begin thinking about that now.
What do you think of the trade deals that President Trump is making with China? Would you say this is part of the realm of unrestricted warfare? If you drew a Venn diagram, would trade deal negotiations overlap with unrestricted warfare, or are they separate?
They would certainly overlap. The trade barriers, the sanctions, the tariffs are all in the right direction now, which gives us more strength and also weakens the Chinese communist economy. People need to understand when we're doing business with China, when you buy a product from China, when you do anything with China, you use a Chinese app like TikTok or Zoom or whatever, then you're doing business directly with the Chinese Communist Party, who wants to eliminate the United States and the free world. So what we're doing is we're feeding our enemy's machine, the communist machine. And whenever you talk about China, you must understand it is communist. There are a lot of wonderful people in China, but they're completely controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. And it's something we can never forget. And again, that's the number one threat to the future of the United States, per the previous FBI director, and even the current FBI director, Kash Patel, has said the same thing.
Okay, just one last question. And on the topic of trade, I think this affects millions of Americans. What do you think of installing Chinese e-commerce platform apps on your phones, whether it's an iPhone, an Android, for example, Shein, right? Temu, AliExpress. What do you make of that, installing those apps on your phone?
That as well, any Chinese apps on your phone, whether it's Temu, Shein, even TikTok, Red Note, and Lemon 8. And then the gaming apps, the top 5 gaming apps that we use are all CCP gaming apps. Remember, I don't use the word China because it's completely controlled by the CCP. So understand what that means. You're putting an espionage platform, an espionage app on your phone. So everything on your phone is being sent to communist China from every one of those apps. And there are over 450 different data points that are tracked on a smartphone. And a lot of those are being sent directly to China. That's your photographs, your geolocation, which every photograph has, all your emails, all your business emails on the phone, personal emails, passwords, everything. What time you got up in the morning, how fast you drive, where you went, who you saw, your contacts. All of that's being sent as espionage to the Chinese Communist Party. And if you have fitness trackers and those type of things, all of your health data is being sent back to China as well. Remember, they're the most formidable enemy we have ever faced on planet Earth. And we as a people need to wake up to that, whether you're Aussies, New Zealanders, anybody else around the planet. We have to wake up that these guys are serious and they want to completely dominate and take over the free world.
Wow. I mean, that is really eye-opening. I mean, even on iPhones, I mean, maybe I'm naive, but even on iPhones, all that can happen to you?
Any phone, if you're putting a Chinese app on any phone or any computer, that means it is compromised. Even when you delete the app, they have agents that are left over on your phone or your computer that still send the information. You're never able to uninstall 100% of the app. So once you put it on, it's there for good. So
Wow.
the answer is, it's a secret war that people don't understand. And we all think that I like Chinese food and I like going to the Chinese cleaners, and I like cheap Chinese clothes and so on. And I like that cool app which is TikTok, which is addictive app. It's cognitive warfare. So all of those things, when you see what we see on a daily basis, it's beyond people's comprehension, and it is not safe. China is not your friend. China is your enemy. They train their young that the United States is their enemy, and they are just dark. The U.S. and Americans are dark, degenerate people. That is what the Chinese people are tasked with. I mean, here's just one example. When Chinese college students leave China, they are required to sign a loyalty pledge with the Chinese Communist Party to spy when they get and they arrive at their US universities and eventually get deployed into US companies, US agencies, government agencies, and so on. That's who you're dealing with. So we as a free nation, and we grew up as free people, we don't think that way. But a Chinese communist or a communist regime thinks it the other way. Every person in a communist regime is an asset and considered to be an asset.
Wow, that is a really eye-opening, Casey. That's all the time we have for you today. But I think everyone watching will keep what you said in mind for a very long time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.